Yo, what is going on? Headliner Nation, Kyle back with the Fantasy Headliners, and we've got ourselves an extra special Saturday show. Normally we don't drop shows on Saturdays because we have our live stream Saturday night, but we're going to be dropping this one today because I was kicked back the other day relaxing for a few minutes, and I was just thinking to myself, what's going on? Like, what in the world is happening with 2022? So I started diving into a few pieces of information, and I thought to myself, do we have some trends right now happening that we need to take a look at? That we need to say to ourselves, we need to keep this in mind for next year. Are there issues scoring? Is scoring down right now? I think a lot of us are looking at our teams and we're thinking to ourselves, what is happening? Why are we having issues winning games right now? Because in the comments of our videos leading into the season, everybody was happy with their team. I didn't see anybody, for the most part, there might have been a few here or there, that were like, man, I don't like the way I drafted. And now we're about 3 weeks into the season, and I feel people are jumping off the ship. And they're like, hey, what's going on? My team isn't doing that well. There might be some things going on in football that we'll have to adjust for in coming seasons. But maybe this season just isn't nearly as crazy as we think it is. Maybe we just aren't hitting all of the players right now, and we're off to a little bit of a slow start. And we're going to get into all of that right now and kind of talk about what it is that's going on. And is scoring down? Like I just asked that question a second ago. Is scoring down? What's going on right now that's causing us to look at our teams and say, man, something just isn't right? So I really wanted to dive into, because to me it feels like it's the top guys that we drafted. Right now, it feels like to me that the ones that we're really disappointed with are the guys that we took at the top of our draft. So I went through and I added up the points for the top 12 players at each position as of week 3. 841 points for quarterbacks, 576 for running backs, 639 for wide receiver, and 358 points for tight end. So right now, the average quarterback 1 score is 70 through 3 weeks. The average RB1 score through 3 weeks is 48, 53 for wide receivers, 29 for tight ends. And again, I'm saying to myself, is scoring down? Well, it is, but not really. It's down for running or quarterbacks. 892 points were scored among the top 12 quarterbacks in 2021 compared to 841 now. There's barely a change in running backs, 587 to 576. There's barely a change in wide receivers, 641 to 639. And there's a decent drop-off for tight ends, 398 to 358. It's very funny to me because someone the other day on Twitter tweeted one of those guys that are a fake it till you make it type of guy on Twitter because he just likes to throw out information that isn't accurate, but it gets him a bunch of likes. That's what a lot of people do on Twitter these days. And was trying to make a point of, running back heavy drafting is gone because it's, scoring is down this year. No, it's not. Not among the not among the top 12. It's not. It's the same as it was last year for the most part. And guess what? The same goes for wide receivers. So there isn't a big difference between wide receiver scoring this year and last year. So no. That is absolutely false. Try again. You can't defeat Headliner Nation. We're undefeated here. Now we're starting to see a little bit more of a significant drop, especially at the running back position for 2020. And even, a big drop for quarterbacks as well. 916 points among the top 12 quarterbacks in 2020. 674 for running backs, 607 for wide receivers, and 408 for tight ends. So back in 2020... yeah, everything is down except for wide receivers. Wide receivers are going up. But they're not going up at a pace that's like crazy because, yes, it went up quite a bit from 2020 to 2021, but it didn't really go up from 2021 to 2022. Running backs are down significantly, 674 to 587, of course. But it's only 576 in 2022. So there's not a big drop off from 2021 to 2022. So what about 2019? Well, scoring for quarterbacks was actually the worst that it's been out of the all 4 years, 778 in 2019. We were at 665 for running backs, 659 for wide receivers, and 441 for tight ends. So wide receivers actually dropped off, but it's back to the norm. So not much has changed with wide receiver scoring. We are a little bit down in running back scoring over the past couple of years. But again, the change from 2021 to 2022 isn't that significant. The change in 2019 to 2020 was a little bit up, and then we went back down. So yeah, there might be some things there that we look at and say, okay, yeah, those are off. Absolutely. But, what's off at each position? Did we not draft well? Are guys playing in and above their head right now? Are guys, injured? What is it among the top players at each position? So I broke it down for us in regards to ADP. So here's your top 12 average draft position after 2022 drafts. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. I'm going to let all that soak in here for just a second while I take a sip of water. All right, that was more like a chug of water. But there we go. There's not a bunch of craziness when you look at the top 7. Of the current rankings after week 3, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Jackson, Murray, Hurts, Joe Burrow. All of them were drafted like top 7 quarterbacks. All of them are playing like top 10 quarterbacks. But then we've got a drop off here for Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott injured. We're not going to hold that one against him, and Matthew Stafford. All the way down to 23. So what is the top 12 right now? Jackson, Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Wentz, Tua, and again, this was before Thursday Night Football, Joe Burrow, Herbert, Murray, Lawrence, Goff, and Carr. So of the top 12 quarterbacks currently on the board in scoring in fantasy football, 5 of them were drafted as quarterback 2s or later. Wentz was the quarterback 24 in the draft. Tua was quarterback 16. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback 18. Jared Goff, quarterback 27. Derek Carr, quarterback 14. So as you can see there, it's barely half. It's barely half. Half the guys we drafted inside the top 12 ADP for quarterback are not currently there. But the first 7 quarterbacks, they're all there. They're all there in the top 12 right now. What about running back? Well, the ADP for running backs in 2022 was Taylor, CMC, Derrick Henry, Eckler, Cook, Harris, Mixon, Swift, Jones, Kamara, Barkley, Chubb. That was the top 12 at the position in ADP in half PPR formats. So, what's the current rankings? A majority of them are actually running like top quarterbacks. Taylor, McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. They're 10, 11, and 12. Yes, they're not 1, 2, and 3 like you drafted them. They're still RB1s. Eckler, Cook, Najee Harris, and Mixon. Again, before Thursday Night Football. All of them, yes, they're not the 4, 5, 6, and 7 running backs that you drafted. They're still RB2s. DeAndre Swift and Aaron Jones are still in the top 12. Kamara was injured for a game. We're not going to hold that against him. Barkley's 2 and Nick Chubb is 1. Is it very interesting to me that 12 and 11 are 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3 are 10, 11, and 12? I thought that was kind of a fun fact. The top 12 at the position right now, Chubb, Barkley, James Robinson, who was the RB42 in drafts, Cordero Patterson, who is the RB34, Jamal Williams, who is the RB57, maybe undrafted in some leagues. Same thing for Khalil Herbert at number 6, DeAndre Swift at number 7. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was drafted as the RB26, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. So of the top 12 running backs currently at their position, 5 of them were drafted outside the top 12. Pretty significantly late. So again, a majority of the top 12 running backs that you chose, you're getting fine numbers from right now. You drafted them as a top 12 running back. They're giving you top 12 running back numbers. Yeah, maybe Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry aren't 1, 2, 3 like you would have hoped. They're still RB1s. And again, RB1 scoring this year is not down by much compared to last year. So what about wide receivers? The ADP for wide receivers in 2022 was Kupp, Jefferson, Chase, Adams, Diggs, Lamb, Evans, Hill, Samuel, Pittman, Brown, and Allen. Where do they currently stand? Cooper Kupp is 2, Justin Jefferson is 8, Jamar Chase 16, again before Thursday Night Football. Devontae Adams at 9, Stephon Diggs is 1, CeeDee Lamb 28, Mike Evans was suspended for a game. We're not going to hold that one against him. Tyreek Hill was 5, Deebo Samuel was 29, Michael Pittman missed a game with an injury, A.J. Brown is 7 right now, Keenan Allen has missed a game with an injury. You know what's really funny to me here, ladies and gentlemen, is that people argue that they don't want to take running backs in the first round because it's too injury prone at that position. It's too, you can get hurt. Well, Pittman and Keenan Allen both missed time, and Mike Evans was suspended. So actually the top 12 wide receivers you drafted this year, more of them have missed time than running backs so far. Diggs and Kupp are at 1 and 2. And again, before Thursday Night Football, Waddle was at 3. He was drafted as the wide receiver 19. Amon-Ra St. Brown was 4. He was drafted as the wide receiver 26. He'll miss this week, obviously. Tyreek Hill is wide receiver 5. Again, before Thursday Night Football. I feel like I have to keep saying that because someone is going to come in the middle of this video, not listen, and be like, "What? How is Tyreek Hill number 5 after that stinker on Thursday Night Football?" I can hear it now and see it. Christian Kirk at wide receiver 6. He was the wide receiver 40 in drafts. A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams. Curtis Samuel was an undrafted player. I mean, he wasn't going in leagues. Nobody was drafting Curtis Samuel. If you did, congratulations, because you were one of the very, very few. Amari Cooper was the wide receiver 29. Drake London was the wide receiver 41. So we actually have 6 wide receivers compared to 5 running backs that have made their way into the top 12 that were not drafted as top 12 running backs or wide receivers. Very interesting, because the complaint right now is about running backs. The big complaint right now from people is that the running backs are not doing what they thought that they would do, and because of that, their seasons are on the line after 3 weeks. But the top 12 wide receivers have been just as crazy. They've got 2 injuries. They had 1 guy suspended, and they have 6 guys in the top 12 that were not drafted as top 12 wide receivers. In fact, Jalen Waddle is the only one that was drafted as a wide receiver 2. Everybody else was drafted as a wide receiver 3 or later. Do you see what I'm getting at here, Headliner Nation? If you don't, finish watching. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, Waller, Schultz, Goddard, Hockenson, Knox, Ertz, Kmet, and Freiermuth. Those were the top 12 in ADP tight ends for 2022. Travis Kelce's 2, Andrews is 1, Pitts is 15, George Kittle was injured, not holding it against him. Darren Waller is 6, Dalton Schultz was injured, not holding that against him. Goddard at 5, Hockenson at 12, Knox at 27, Ertz at 3, Cole Kmet at 52, and Pat Freiermuth at 8. So of the top 12 at their position right now, 5 tight ends, including 2 who were never even drafted, have made their way into the top 12. Tyler Conklin is at 4. He was undrafted. Gerald Everett is at 7. He was drafted as the tight end 26. David Njoku was the tight end 16. Tyler Higbee was the tight end 17. And Will Dissly was also undrafted. This is where we stand right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we stand. It's tough for me to watch the comments come in and people continuously say over and over that their draft stunk and that now they're losing because they drafted so poorly. I don't think that many people actually drafted poorly. And this isn't as a whole of Headliner Nation. I'm saying, I've seen in the comments, I see it on Twitter, I see it from other people. It's not just our community here. It is everybody. Everybody right now is having issues or saying that they're having issues. But the funny thing is that when you take a look at the numbers, they're not really that bad compared to recent years. Yes, running back scoring is down a little bit. It's not down from last year, And there's actually less guys missing from the top 12 ADP currently in the fantasy rankings than there is wide receivers. The big thing that's happening right now is that it is the later round guys that are stepping up. There is a significant drop off when you take a look at those later running backs that we're taking compared to how some of the wide receivers are doing right now, which only reinforces the fact that you have got to get the guys early in your draft that are continuing to get the carries and get the touches, because there is a significant drop-off at running back right now. Yes, the guys that you spent high round picks on. Yes, if you went running back heavy to begin a draft and you have a Mixon and a Fournette or a Barkley or, whatever it may be, and you've got some guys, Najee Harris, that are underperforming right now, it feels significant because those were your first picks. But trust me, the guys out there right now that are trying to get points from their other running backs, it just isn't happening. There's not really any other running backs when you fall outside of that top 12 where you're looking at them and they're saying, dang, those guys are producing. It just isn't happening. It just isn't happening. So if you're a member and you've been a member and you've been checking out the videos, that's great, because I've done several video breakdowns or film breakdowns now on certain players. Juju Smith-Schuster, Kyle Pitts. Who's the first one? There's a running joke right now in Discord because the first 3 videos I did, the following week, the player came out and smashed. Mike Williams. Was it Mike Williams? It might have been Mike Williams. So Mike Williams, Juju, and Kyle Pitts. They've come out the next week afterwards, and they've had good games. So it'll be interesting because I just did one on Austin Eckler and Travis Etienne. So we'll see if they'll bounce back this week. But the main point that I'm trying to get across to everyone is you got to hold tight, you got to hold steady, and you got to understand that everybody's struggling right now. The big thing is with the running backs is that there's a lot of offensive lines that are struggling right now, and that is causing issues for the running backs to find holes and get open. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for me in this video. Hopefully you appreciated seeing some of the breakdown of the numbers and kind of what's going on and what are the trends over the last couple of years. Y'all have a great weekend. We're going to see you Saturday night for our live show, so do not miss out on that. We'll have our Sunday morning live stream that is only for members. So if you want to become a member, hit that join button down below right now. Leave a little comment and let me know your thoughts on the video. Is there anything here that you saw that you found to be interesting as well? Hit the like button before you leave here. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have a great rest of the day. Peace out, stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that Chubb life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation.
I'm a headliner.